Hey everybody, welcome to Elisa's Art Room. Tonight we're going to be working on our vignette. What am I calling it? Apothecary Book Nook vignette? Halloween Book Nook? I done forgot. I think I'm calling it Halloween Book Nook vignette. But we're going to be working on that. Yeah, come and say hi. We are live on Facebook if you see the little red button at the top left. If not, it's a replay. Thank you for letting me know the volume is okay, Dawn. I appreciate that. I'll get you guys pulled up so I can see chat. I think this will be one of those nights where my memory's not great. All right. Let's see how that stays. Okay, so we really haven't got a lot done on this yet. We're just in the prepping stages, but we're going to work on, it said trying to reconnect. Sorry, I had to pause. We're going to work on showing you how I painted this. So this is the finished one, and I'm going to show you on this little one on the top so that you can see how I did that. And a couple other things. We've got a little cabinet that we're going to work on and some other things, but let's get to it. Okay, so let me pull this camera up top. 1 second. Sorry about all the bumping. Okay, I think that is good. All right. So let's start with this. So the last time we were on, I put the texture paste on, put the little lines through it, and we were left with the plain texture paste on this. So that's what it looked like the last time we were on. It's just plain cream colored. And I'm going to show you how I painted this to get it to look like this. How did I paint it? Did I make notes? Maybe. Maybe I made notes. Maybe I didn't. I've been trying to make notes. I don't see any notes. All right. Did I put notes here? Texture paste. Aging wood. Nope. I didn't make notes on that. Okay, we'll wing it. I think I know how. Let's see. I would have used a dark color first, so let's go with some real brown. I'm going to use paint, the Folk Art multi-surface satin paint, because it sticks to pretty much anything. And I know I won't have any issues. So a little bit of real brown, and we're going to darken that up with some acrylic latex acrylic Liquitex ink. This one's transparent burnt sienna. I want my carbon black. I do have a little in here. I don't know if I have enough. It's almost empty. I used a ton of it yesterday. Hold on. Let me grab my bottle. All right, carbon black. So I just want this really dark for the little nooks and crannies of the book. This is very concentrated. It is acrylic. It's not solvent based or anything. It's just like normal acrylic, so it's water cleanup. And I'm going to use a little rough brush. So this is just a cheapo hog hair bristle type brush. It's great for stuff like this because it's stiff enough to get it down in there. You can use one of your stencil brushes. Could even use these new stencil brushes I bought, but I'm going to save them for more important stuff. I usually try to use my cheaper stencil type brushes or hog hair bristle brushes for this, so I don't, ruin my good ones. So we're going to mix this brown with a little bit of this black just to get a nice dark color. It's not quite burnt umber, but really close. So if you just have burnt umber, you could probably just use that. I don't have a lot of burnt umber. Oh, I've already done this side. None of it matters, but I'm trying to, I didn't get a rag today. All right, let me see if I can dip this in my water. Not make a mess. It's like I have 2 containers of water for cleaning my brushes, but I usually wet a rag. So I have to just use wet, baby wipes. It's a little less expensive. I'll just wipe that back off because I technically already did this side and I don't want to mess it up. Not using this for the project, but nonetheless. All right, brown, black. And we're just gonna, you can tape off these sides, but I'm gonna grunge this up so much I didn't care. So that's why I didn't. Hey, Nancy. So just you want to get it all in these grooves. So just brush it on, get it in the grooves, all up in your corners. If it's not flowing, you can thin it out. You can thin it out quite a bit, really. We'll thin it out a little bit. And just the thinner it is, the less coverage you'll get and the longer it'll take to dry. So kind of just depends on what you're doing, if you want to deal with that. Make sure I'm in screen. I'm zoomed really close and I'll forget and get out of camera. I'm trying not to. I promise. I wanted to do this, but I wanted one that was the other one to be dry, so I didn't want to do it on camera. So I can just set this one aside. So just get it all in the grooves so it's nice and dark. Okay, and then we are going to normally wait for that to dry. I could just hit it with the blow dryer, I guess. Let me hit it with the blow dryer. Alright. I'm going to do it off camera because I'm too close. So I'm just hitting this with the blow dryer. It dries pretty fast. I mean, it's not completely dry, but it's dry enough. All right, now we want to wash this out. Okay, and we're going to take some vintage white. Just a drop's all you need. I want this to be relatively dry, so let me see if I can get it somewhat dry. And we are going to brush over kind of a dry brush. Now it won't dry this white because it starts kind of picking up the color underneath it just a little bit. So it usually takes a couple of times of putting some of this lighter color on there. I'm trying not to go into the grooves too much. So you can just kind of hit those top edges. Yeah. I'm going to add, I'm pretty sure it'll start absorbing that other color. I'm almost 90% sure that's what happened last time. I'm going to add just a little drop of this burnt umber. Not burnt umber, what is it? Burnt sienna. Burnt umber's fine too, something like that. But this will warm it up a little bit. I just want to warm it up just a tiny bit. I think that's closer to the shade I wanted. This brush is really too small, but it's okay. What brush did I use? Half the time I don't remember, guys, and I just guess. If I don't write it down, I am not going to remember what I did from one time to the next, and I'll do it a different way, and it won't matter because it'll still work. So if you see me telling you how to do things and it's different than the last time I told you how to do it, that's why. It's just that I don't remember. And it's really not a big deal. So just a couple of shades of a lighter color on there. Still needs to be a little bit warmer. I'm just going by what I did on this side. I got it a little bit warmer. This would work. There's nothing wrong with that. But if I want to match my other side, we're going to add a little more burnt sienna because it is warmer. It's a much warmer tone than that one. Right now I have clean spots. I really don't want to hit inside the groove, so try to use the flat of your brush. That is pretty good. Is it warm enough? It might dry warmer than that. I don't know. We're going to add a little more of this. Just over the top, just to warm it up a tiny bit more. This is transparent, so it will dry very transparent. That's pretty close. All right. All right, wash out my brush, and I would let that dry. Okay, so that is how I did that, just to give it kind of a aged book page look. All right, so set that aside somewhere. Okay, and we have this one that I did. And the color's a little bit different. The color's always different. Every time I do it, the color's going to be different because, you know, I don't remember from one time to the next what I did. And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so we're going to age some stuff. We're going to... I'm looking for my notes because I know I wrote a note on this for my colors. I need burnt sienna, burnt umber, carbon black. Okay, there's my burnt sienna. Where is my burnt umber? There's my carbon black. And I know I have burnt umber here somewhere. There it is. Burnt umber. Right, I'm going to zoom out just a fraction. Let's just set this somewhere where you can get to it. There's no safe places, guys. All right, so I already did this one. So this is pretty much ready on the outside. I might grunge it up a little as we go. I'm not going to do that just yet. On the inside, we are putting in a cabinet here that we've talked about, and I wanted to get it aged. So as I was making this little cabinet, and it was just that little wood piece the last time you saw it, that was from the little wood chipboard cutout things that you get at Hobby Lobby or wherever, but it was really thin. Here, do I have the other one? I know I have the other one sitting here. Is it in this box? I think it's in this box. I think. So I can show you how thin it is normally, in case you don't remember. All right, this is what it was. And this is just a piece of it that I cut. I cut this one sideways to make a shelf. But it's just this, and they're normally square. They normally have a side, okay? But you see how thin that is? Very, very, very thin, okay? And that really wouldn't be a problem, but I want to put a screw in it. So it became a problem. So I had to cut some wood for it. Now, I had that craft wood from Dollar Tree and popsicle sticks and other things. This wood I got from Hobby Lobby. It's basswood. This craft wood from Dollar Tree, it might be basswood. It looks like basswood. It doesn't say. But I bet you that's what it is. I'll grab the bag. It is this. Okay. And yeah, it doesn't tell you what it is. So, I don't know. Some sort of wood. But that's what this is. I like the thickness of it. It's a little thicker than the one I bought. Okay. Can you see the difference? A little bit thicker. This is a good 1/8 of an inch. This is like 3/32 of an inch. Okay. What I needed to do was beef up the sides. The sides were not thick enough like this to get a screw in there. And I have these little hardware hinges that I want to put on this. I wasn't going to put a lid on it, but I started looking through my frames and I saw a cute one, so, well, a grungy one. So I got these little hardware hinges, and they come with these little bitty tiny screws. But I needed, I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to try to zoom in. Okay. I needed the wood to be thick enough so that when I tried to put this screw in there, okay, it didn't poke out on the other side. Okay, so if I put it in there right now, you can see there's nothing for it to really get into. There's no meat. So by adding a piece of this Dollar Tree wood that I cut to size, okay, I added it on there and glued it on there. I used I think I just used dark glitter glue. You could use wood glue. Wood glue is fine. But I think I used dark glitter. Then when I put my screw on here with the hinge and everything else, it shouldn't stick out on the inside. It looks like it'll be fine. And if it sticks out a little, I'm not going to worry about it. But it shouldn't. Because it's got that now and the hinge itself as far as the thickness to go through. So it should be fine. So I'm going to have 2 of these little hinges. Very hard for me to open because I don't have fingernails. All right, 2 little hinges. The part with the round part goes on the outside, in case you haven't used them before. So it's going to go like this. Okay. And then what I'm going to put on these, I'm just going to keep these in here until, well, I'll take those out because I'm going to need this first. I bought these hinges from Amazon. I added them to my favorites list. They weren't expensive. It was like this pack, 60 of them for like $8.99 or something. It was somewhere in the $8 to $9 range. So, ton of hinges. I'll never use them all, but I was buying pieces of Dollar Tree furniture that had hinges on it for $1 to get my hinges. So it was just cheaper to do it that way. I was stealing hinges off of things like this. So if you only need like one hinge, they have this little box at Dollar Tree. I was like, I'll just steal it off of there. So I was going to steal it off of there. But these are about the same size. They're a little bit bigger, but they'll still work fine. So sometimes I just steal them off of other things. Hey, Deborah. All right, so here's what I found. So there's these baseboards in Tim Holtz's baseboard sets. I don't know which one it was because it was from last year. But they're little frames. And I made it look like this. So it's been grunged up to look like this. I'll show you how to do it. I'm going to be adding this little guy on here because I thought it would look cute as a opening. And it will still, it's not going to interfere with closing my box or anything like that. And it will hold my bottles in, and it's an interactive element, which I love. So I'll show you how I grunge this baseboard up to make it look like this. And this isn't even done to the point I want. I'm going to do a little more grunging, but we'll do that. I grunged this up a little bit more than maybe last time you were here. I just added some black shadows. I think that's really all I did to it. It's just mostly added some black shadows. I didn't do a lot to it. So what we want to do first, I'll show you how to grunge the frame up first, and then we'll glue it and partially glue and partially screw it to this cupboard. And we're going to try to cover the inside of this, so I got to pick out some wallpaper. So while that's drying, we'll do that. So first thing I got to do is show you how to do this, just so you know how I got that achieved, and pretty much is similar to what we just did. Let me move these pieces of wood. So, you can add a little bit of either Mod Podge, matte medium, collage medium to your paints to get them to stick better. It also helps with the grunginess. These are very shiny. It's just paper though. It's paper over like chipboard. So, you know, don't go soaking wet, because you'll mess it up. But what brush did I use? I think I used this brush. I wanted one of my old brushes. This is a really old brush, probably 20 years old, but I don't use a lot. I'm not using my good brushes. Use cheaper brushes. Buy that little value pack of brushes at Michael's. Use those, okay? Don't ruin your good brushes for doing stuff like this. So we can grab some, we'll just do matte medium, because I know matte medium is nice and matte. The Tim Holtz Distress Collage Medium is pretty matte too. Personally, I think the acrylic Liquitex matte medium is matter than this, just in my personal experience with it. But definitely don't use a shiny glue. Don't use this. That's the downfall I'm seeing with this glue. It's very shiny, very sticky when it dries. So unless you're gluing something like plastic gems or plastic to glass where it's not going to be exposed, I would maybe not use that. Seems great for the other purpose, but it does not seem great for anything else. At least from what I've found so far. So I'm just put a little tiny bit of matte medium on here. And what I'm going to do is just first kind of coat this with some matte mediums, just to kind of get it coated so that it has like a protection coat, and it'll just make things stick better. Do not worry about what this coat looks like. You can do it with your fingers even if you want. It will cause you to have glue all over your fingers, but yeah, just give it a good coat everywhere. And I usually do it pretty, if I'm doing a grungy thing, I don't worry about brush strokes or if it's thicker in some areas, because it's just going to add to the grunge. Just give that a good coat, and I'm just looking at it kind of sideways in the light, making sure I've hit everything. Even around where this chipboard is, because that'll seal it nice and you won't have to worry so much about water. It's not like a varnish level seal, but it's sealed enough. And I'll be painting the back of this too, so, well, I'm not going to paint this one on the back today because it's the same as the front and you don't really need to worry about it. The only difference on the back is I make it a little thicker, that white. I think I used it all. Was there enough? I think there was. Just barely. All right, so make sure it's all coated. Just look at it from an angle. You can usually tell. And it won't be completely matte at this point, but it's a lot matter than it was. Okay, wash your brush out so there's not quite so much glue in it. And we're going to add some paint. So I mostly use the inks, the acrylic inks with this, but you can add just a touch of the real brown if you want, just to kind of give it a little more thickness. But honestly, for this type of a grunging, it doesn't really need it. You can just get away with just using these inks. So we're going to put a drop of burnt umber. Now these are both transparent. The burnt umber and my burnt sienna are both transparents. I'm not sure if it's the only way they sell it. It happens to be what I bought. I wasn't really paying attention, but that's what I bought. And a little bit of black. These dry kind of fast, so don't put out a lot because it'll dry on you and you'll waste it. All right, and then, like I said, if you want to thicken it up, you can add a little bit of collage medium or matte medium. Even Mod Podge. I've seen people do Mod Podge. I don't like Mod Podge, so I don't use it much. And here's what we're going to do. We're just going to, this is pretty much dry. All we're going to do is add some colors and just start grunging this guy up so he looks darker toned, more like the wood we're dealing with. Okay? You can let little bits shine through of the other if you want. But I like these colors because they kind of just look agey and, you know, a little bit rusty maybe. Is that black? I think that's black. Once you get them down, you almost need to write what they are next to them, because once you get them down on here, you can't tell what color they are. They're very dark. You'll figure it out once you put it on your brush, but okay, so just cover that pretty good. Wear gloves if you're worried about getting paint on your hands. This is a water-based. It will wash off. Okay, so grunge it up to where it's looking pretty good. And then you can add some shadows. Which one's black? I think this was black. So for the shadows, I just want them to be anywhere where I think it might have a shadow. So the base of a board maybe. A little bit more. Maybe I want to distinctly separate these two or something. It really is not a huge deal. I'm just going to add a little bit there, a little more there. It won't dry this dark. So a little more brown. Okay, so once you get it to kind of a base that you like and you're okay with, I think this one was a little greener. The baseboard I started with, which is fine. Either would work. I mean, this would look just as good because all the baseboards are slightly different colors. But at that point, then you can add, you're at this stage, that's the kind of stage I'm at here. You could put a little bit of this dark, maybe just on some of these shadows. I'm actually putting this one on this way because this side has a little more room than this side. It's slightly wider, and I need this for my hinge. So this is actually going to be the bottom, but in reality, I think that this is the bottom in this picture of this frame. Doesn't matter, but because there are some like hinges on this side, but you can kind of just camouflage them. If it bothers you that there's hinges on both sides. Just gonna get a little more shadow there. Okay, so that's how I did that. Set that aside. I'm not going to do the back of it because I already did the back of this one. Wash out my brush. Always wash out your brush. Set this aside. I'll probably be using it again. So for these shadows, all I did was add that black. You can use black watered down paint too if you don't have that, the ink. But watered down pretty good. That's what this is. This is some carbon black. It's like a few drops in distilled water. And I usually will just spray some on the plate and go with that. But a very, very, very thin watered down mixture. Just applied where a shadow would normally be. So at the base, underneath. Because when you're dealing with miniatures, there's no real shadows usually because they're not big enough to really produce a lot of real shadows. You might get a few, but it kind of helps if you kind of just make your own shadows. And that's all this is doing, is this is just creating some depth to this piece by making your own shadows. Okay, just put it anywhere you think it might need a shadow. So that's it for that. So what I want to do is I want to put this hinge on here. Which side is fatter? Yeah, this side. The meaty side, because one is just slightly wider because it fits this little hinge better. See how it's not quite hitting the edge? Am I zoomed still? Okay, I'm zoomed on my iPad. I'm really zoomed on my iPad, but my phone is still a little bit farther out. So here, we'll pull it in so you can see. Okay, see how I have plenty of room there? But this other side is a little bit narrower. You see where it hits? It's not real easy to tell until you kind of put the hinge on there and you're like, oh, that side's a lot narrower. So that's why I'm using that side, even though technically it's upside down. So I'm going to decide where I want them. They're probably not going to stay for me. If you need to, you could put just a little bit of sticky on the back of those, just so it stays. It doesn't keep falling on you. You can use like a little removable adhesive roller. I don't know if I have any removable ones. I think all of mine are permanent. They probably are, but let's see. You can just take and just, oh, this has a lid. Why does it have a lid? I hate lids. There. You can just take and put a drop or two, dot or two, if I can get it to come off, on there, and usually it's enough to just kind of get it to stay where you want it to stay while you're tracing it or whatever. So I think I want that one. Did I get any on there? I don't think I got any on there. I think it's too big. Where is my other one? I have a couple of those. How about this one? This one looks more like tape instead of dots. Let's try it. All right, so the outside, I want this side. I'm just trying to get it to hold in place so I can trace it. I could tape it, but I won't have access to it as easily. And I want it to be removable, so I don't want to put too much adhesive on it. Now I'm going to raise this up just a fraction from the bottom because I don't want it to hit. Okay, open. Okay, which side? This side. A little bit on there. So I think I want that one there. Maybe a little higher. So I think I want this one here. Let's put this one, I think about there. Does that look okay? Oh, that looks too high. Let's move it back down. Maybe there. I'm being picky. All right, there. So figure out where you want your hinges. Because is, see if it'll stay. Do you see where my screw is going to hit? Let me get that flush. Do you see where my screw is going to hit? It's going to hit on the, just barely on the edge. I don't want it to hit just barely on the edge or my screw will just crack that wood open and it'll make a mess. Now I could just glue this and fake glue the heads on there and it'd probably be fine. But I really would prefer to screw it on there if I can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to recess this here just a little bit so that I can push this hinge that direction just slightly and hopefully won't have any issues. If I do have an issue, I can repair it and I can just glue it. I don't have like super glue or anything. I have E6000 floating around. Art glitter might hold it long enough. I know Tim says he uses his collage medium on everything, but I don't know. I haven't found it holds great for some things, but maybe it's fine. So I'm going to trace that. I'm going to use, like a Sharpie. I'm going to use my tiniest Sharpie type thing. So I've got this Micron 01, which is teeny, teeny, tiny. And I'm just going to trace where I want to inlay this a little tiny bit. I'm not real worried about this line showing because, one, it's going to be grungy, and two, it's black. It's not going to show that much. Just want to make sure I'm flush on there. I think I am. So, I'll do that. Pop that off. And then I'm just going to cut that out just a little. So I'm basically just going to remove a layer just like I do when I remove a layer when we're making these thinner. I don't want to go too far on the layers because obviously I don't want to, you know, affect the strength of it too much. So I'm just going to use my blade and just try to hit just the paper part. I'm just going to take off that paper, that top paper piece. And it cuts pretty easy. See if I can get around that corner. The biggest thing is I don't want to go too far. This one is almost to the edge. I'm going to try to come in just a little bit. I almost just added some more wood and thickened it up, and I was like, yeah, I don't want to do that. So I decided to go this route. Is one easier than the other? I really don't know. You know, not necessarily. Trying to see where I need to be. Let's see. Do I have some tape? I hate the view is so different on one device versus the other. It's amazing how much of a difference there is. Okay. Try to stay in there. So then I'm just going to peel off that layer, and don't cut yourself, guys. These are sharp tools we're playing with. So I'm just going to try to get under that paper. All right, once you get under there, it should come off, assuming you cut all the way through. And then I'm just going to try to take off maybe, I don't know, 3 layers maybe, if I can get it to cut in there. Oops, let go. I think about 3 should be sufficient. Usually once you get it started, then you can use your other tools. All right, let's try that. And then where's this tool? Like I said, I'm trying not to make it so much that it affects the strength of it. Okay, so just a little bitty bit. And we can see how much that hinge lays in there. Should be sufficient. It's almost completely flush. And I'm going to see if that will give me enough room to get this screw in there. So raise up just a fraction, flush with my wall. If you find you're moving too much, you could probably tape this with some low-tack tape. I don't think it will come off. The paint might come off, and if the paint comes off, it's not the end of the world. I can fix it. Almost always fix it. So I'm just going to see if I can get this flush. I can barely get this tape to stick to it. These are some used pieces too, so they're not necessarily the stickiest. But it'll make my life easier if it stays in place for me. And I am up from the bottom Not even a 16th, just a fraction. Yeah, it's totally not going to stay. I might have to use blue tape. Stay on it. No, it doesn't like it. All right. Sticking to the top, but it is not sticking to the side. I just need you to stay for me. Just for a moment, so I can play with hinges. All right. Just add that, see if that's enough. Okay. Let's stick that over there. Let's see. Make sure that I've got a hinge that still fits, because some of these are probably slightly different. I have no idea which one I grabbed first. Right, let's see how much room that gives me. It's a little better. Might could go one more layer down. I wouldn't go more than that. I don't want to get it too thin. Possibly one more layer down. But I think that's about it. So we'll go one more layer down. Make sure that I've cut through deep enough on this side. I can't go too deep. Go too deep, then I'll break the whole piece in half, and then I'll be gluing the back. Not that it would be the first time, but you know. I don't think I cut through here. Although technically it pretty much is right at the edge, so I'm just going to let it go all the way to the edge, because that piece is not, it's very close to the edge. Alright, that should be good. Oh, I got a little bump there. Just clean that up a little. You could sand this if you want. But honestly, it's usually fine. If I can get all the little pieces to fall off. There. Alright, let's see how that fits. Like I said, if anyone didn't want to do all this, I could totally just try to glue it. Might mean clamping it and waiting for a while, but oh, that's much better. Okay. So about that many layers. So really, my tape is not cooperating. Where's my scissors? I'm trying to make sure it's flush. Hopefully my blue tape won't take off the paint, so I don't have to paint it again. I don't think it will, honestly. Done grunging it, so I'm going to be adding more grunge to it anyway. Am I flush? Yep. Alright, let's do this little piece. Am I still on camera? Y'all try to yell at me if I get out of camera. So let's peel this one. I think I cut these sides, but I can't remember now. I think I did. Yeah, it feels like I did. Just get a little bit deeper, since I know I'm going through 3 at least. I would suggest just working in layers. Just take off a layer, pick another layer. Like I said, there's probably, I don't know, at least 6 or 7 layers on here in reality. There, that looks good. Let's see how that fits. It's very flush. And compare it to this one. It feels the same. Okay, so not too bad. So we are going to glue this first, just to kind of give it a little something. I could almost use that. It's gone. I don't even know where it went. It's off now. Where's my cork? I'm just going to cover that so I don't cut myself. So let's use, I'm debating on which I want to use. I think I'm just going to use art glitter. Because I'm going to, this is going to be glued. This is not going to get screws because I don't have screws that little. So this will be glued for sure. So you want to use something that'll work on metal and it'll work on wood. Okay. Many of these glues I have here say they will work on metal or wood. This says metal or wood. This is metal or wood. Tim says his is metal or wood. Any of them are fine. This is going to be the shiniest of what I have. So I don't know if I want to use that. Shall we trust Tim's word that his works? I don't know. The art glitter dries so much faster. I'm going to do the art glitter. Get yourself some glue on there. If you feel like your glue is going to be too thick, you might want to actually cut this out a little bit more. I do not care if it comes up through the holes because I'm going to be putting a nail head thingy on there. So just make sure it's flush. So feel it on both sides and make sure it's flush through your wall and on the top. Okay. And we'll do this one. Don't worry if some glue shows. It does not matter. And normally I'd probably clamp this just to be sure and let it dry. Just do this one side and clamp it and then go from there. But let's just make sure that's seated. It should dry pretty fast. Alright, so this is my bottom. I added just that little piece. It's just a popsicle stick. Just to make it look a little more finished. Alright, so we're going to let that sit up for a minute before I try to drill these screw holes. So I'm going to try not to break them back off. So I'm just going to let it sit up. I could probably clamp it maybe. I don't know if I can get in there. Let's see. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Let's see. Well, nope, it pops it up. So we're not going to try to clamp it. We're just going to go leave it. It feels like it's almost dry. So we'll set that aside for a second, just so we can dry some more. And let's go on to something else while that's drying. We'll go on to our wallpaper. I'm trying to, do things in steps so that I don't have to wait for drying time, and bore y'all. Okay, so we need to pick out wallpaper for the inside of our design. And we need to consider our wiring. Now, technically, I could drill through the hole for wiring. I guess I shouldn't worry about it yet, really, because I still don't know what I'm doing totally. I know I'm going to put some lights inside that little box. Where's my base? Oh, there it is. So this is going to go here. Not quite flush. I'm going to leave a teeny bit, maybe not even an eighth probably. Actually, you know what I need to do before I forget? I'm just going to glue these in because I don't think I did it yet. Yeah, they're not glued. So let's just glue these in because I want them to stick. Nice. So these are just pieces of foam board just to cover up these holes, and then we'll paint over it and stuff. Just try to make sure it's somewhat flush. It's pretty much the exact width it needs to be for this box. It sticks out a tiny bit in the inside, but it really doesn't matter. Nobody's going to see the inside, so except when they're turning on lights and you could paint it and it'll hide. Want that somewhat flush, so so that when I glue whatever to it, if I do texture or if I do paper, it will just have something to hold on to. Nice and flush. And nice and flush. All right, we'll let that dry. It'll dry quickly. And let's pick out our wallpaper. I'll worry about where we're going to put lights because I don't know. I really haven't figured it out yet. I know we got the book there. The lights are going to come from underneath, so you'll be able to switch them on underneath. And then I've got that little side thing I'm doing. It's going to go here with a wall. Lights are going to be in there to come through to here because I'm going to light this up with something. And they'll also be on the inside. Now, whether I will go from here to the inside, I don't know. I might just go from underneath. But I definitely have to use that to get to this side. So that's why the gap, because I will need my lights to go through there. So that's going to go there. And then, what did I say? I got people. I got a little, excuse me, cauldron or something. Just grab a cauldron. So there'll be a cauldron, there'll be gravestones. I'm just trying to throw some stuff. I thought about using this bucket. I might use it. I have a cute way that I think I might use it. We'll see. I'm trying to find my pieces. Of course, nothing is where I thought it was. In here. Look at this. I mean, a little tombstone. Do you know what that is? Anybody? Anybody know what that is? Y'all tell me if you know what that is. I'm curious if y'all paid attention. I like the grunge on that. What did I use? I'd have to go back and watch my video. It looks like grit paste. Possibly crackle. I think it's grit paste. Y'all tell me what that piece is. Oh my God, excuse my yawning. I am so sorry. I think I got 4 hours sleep again last night. I don't ever sleep enough. Oh, we need these clear things. That's what we need. I gotta grunge one of these up for our windows. I'm pretty sure I'm going to use the skeleton underneath that side. Okay, what shade do I like? Brown. I like this shade a lot. It's probably that shade. I think that'll match well. I'll just get that wipe out of my way. And I was looking for something. What was I looking for? Oh, my little table. That's on the inside though. That's not on the outside. I did the same thing with this table. I added some more black to it. And I added a couple of little cup spots. All I did was take a cap from a marker cap of some sort, daubed it in ink, and daubed it on there. Okay. It looks like, you know, a cup stain. Not that anyone will probably notice but me. But you never know. All those little details, I think they just add so much. You know. That's it. Oh my gosh, that's not it either. Where are the tombstones? They're in with one of these. Are they in with the skulls? I bet they're in with the skulls. They are not in with the skulls. Guys, where'd I put my tombstones? I really don't know. Gravestone? Yeah, but what is it? What's it made out of, Deborah? What did I make this out of? Do you know? I know it's a gravestone now. What did it start to look like before I made it into that? I'm going to find my headstones. Oh, and I've got a cauldron. I've got these two things too to talk about. Okay. All right, let me find it. Where is it at? Not there. Not there. Oh my goodness. I don't remember. Is this it? I found it. Okay. Whew. All right. gravestones. So these guys are going to go here somewhere in this fence. I just want to make sure that I'm thinking about room and all that. This little fence, our scene on there. And then maybe this, I had a really cute idea for this. So here's what I was thinking. I don't know how much you can see. I can't move it or pull my camera down, but I'm going to try to show you. So I have the sign that we're going to use. I'll grunge it up. I need to grunge it up. It's going to point toward the haunted house in the background with a graveyard. This is a graveyard. So I might not use the cauldron. I don't know. I haven't decided. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But I have this paper dolls. Where they at? Is that them? No. They're right here. I pulled them out. They're there. Okay. So, I have 3 paper dolls. Looks like this family. Okay. These 2 both have hands out. And then he looks scared as you know what. So, I was thinking, wouldn't it be adorable? Like, he's ran off. He's hiding in the graveyard. And he's in this bucket. This barrel bucket thing. Because he's just the right size. I can bend his little legs. Okay. Have him in this bucket with his hands on the side. Okay. Once I bend his little legs. Have this other piece to the bucket. Where's that? Behind him, like it was over him somehow. I got to figure out how I'm going to stand it on there. I'll figure it out. And then have Mom and Dad on each side, like lifting it. So he's lifting it on that side. And then she's lifting it on this side. You know, and maybe they're, you know, hiding him. Maybe something's coming and they're putting them in there. I can't, oh my gosh, she's stuck to my tape. Let go of my tape. What, lady? Don't stick to my tape. All right, anyway. So, and then she's on this side with her hand on it, okay? Because her hands just worked out perfectly. And then he's just kind of hiding under there. So what do you think? Does that look cute? I think it'll be cute. I see how to figure out how, you know, the mechanics of it. I have to figure out the mechanics of it. I have to figure out how to maybe strengthen these guys just a little bit. Maybe with a popsicle stick or something. And then what I'll do is I'll put something in here with a base and a stick. And then that will hold this bucket up. So that it stays kind of above him. Just a little bit so his head shows. So I want to hold the bucket up. The barrel. It's a barrel technically. It'll be great, right? So that's my thought. Okay, I want to show you what this is. I made this lantern better. Look how grungy. That is one old lantern from what it was before. So I had these from last year and I haven't used them. Alright, so we got to grunge this. We got to grunge this. This is my makeshift crystal ball. I'll show you how I did that. I grunged this up with some black paint, some grit paste. It needs a little more shading and some rust, I think. This wire is from, I think it's from the inside of my lights. You know how when I cut my lights off, my tiny lights, and I've got that extra? I think that's what I used. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what I used. So I just took a section of that and twisted it and made a handle and painted it black. Okay, so that's what that is. You could use any floral wire or anything. But that's what I'm going to do. So they will be grunged up a little bit, not too much, and then just made not shiny. I'm going to throw some collage medium on them. And then he will have his legs chopped off somehow. I'd probably just chop him off there. So he looks like he's, you know, crawled into that barrel. And let's grunge this. Let's grunge this. All right, I'm gonna get that because it's hiding. I think I know where it is. Yeah, I think I know where it is. It is. This. Can I reach it? There it is. It is this faux moss stone from Dollar Tree. Started out as one of these. It's just a moss stone. And where'd it go? I chopped it down in half, sliced off the outside edge, and we have a moss-covered gravestone. Isn't that cool? I painted it black. And that's just black gesso, I think. Cool. It's an easy way to make some interesting looking little gravestones. So I might make one or two more of those. I don't know. I don't really need a lot more. So that's the plan, guys. That's the plan. I just got to figure out how I'm going to do it. I think I can make a stick for that. So this needs grunge the same way we've been grunging everything else. And then this, we need to pick out our picture and put it on there. I'm not going to do it today. It will probably be, it might be a transfer. So here's the deal. Originally, y'all know, so this will be like this, kind of, sort of. Okay. Originally, this was just going to be the two Tim Holtz pictures, which are floating around here somewhere. Backdrop. Where's it at? All right, backdrop, where'd you go? There, is that it? There it is. Okay, backdrop. Which was this way. Okay. That was my original thought, which is fine. It would work. And then, you know, you've got this, and it's just an off in the distance haunted house. And I may still go that way. I haven't decided. If I did, I'll put lights in the windows. That's my plan. Any windows will have a little light. Maybe some stars. And then I have a moon, but I think my moon's too big. So I have several moons, but most of them are so big. So maybe just one of these moons. I don't know. Maybe that moon. Yeah, so a moon, maybe some bats. I'll figure it out. All right, but I also have those transfers, and I was trying to see if one would fit. If y'all were watching me yesterday, you saw me using the haunted house transfers from Essential Stencil. Okay. Let me zoom back out because I'm probably too close for this. All right, so I've got these transfers. And my question was, I haven't tried it yet, so my question was, could I possibly use one of these little haunted houses on here as my backdrop? I don't know if it will look as cool. I'm trying to see. The only one that really fits, because I want it to be as flat as I can get it. Ideally, maybe. But I might have to cover that ghost if I wanted it flatter. This one, same kind of thing. I think it's just the size isn't quite right. Because here's what it, see, I'd lose that much. And then height-wise, I could come about to that pumpkin. But I don't really want that pumpkin, so I'd probably chop it off there and cover it with something else. Maybe. You know, or maybe I add another pumpkin on cardboard or something. So I don't know. Do you think I should just stick with this plan? It is styrofoam, Deborah. It is definitely styrofoam. And because it's styrofoam, you can eat it up with acetone. That's how when I worked in the prop business for movies, that's how we made gravestones. We took big sheets of EPS foam, and we took a bottle of acetone and a paintbrush, and we splashed it on there, and it just eats it up. It's really kind of cool. Very toxic and not good for you, but cool nonetheless. But that's how we did it. But yeah, so these, it's a little messy. So, and you got to have a sharp blade, which I put a brand new blade in here. You can use your little vise if you're worried about cutting yourself, because you want to make sure you don't cut yourself, obviously. But usually I take off a sliver first. So pick a flat edge. Just take off a little sliver carefully. It cuts real easy. Very slowly, because it might slip. I have my vise. I should go get my vise. Because my blade likes to slip. It does not stay locked. I don't know why. I need a better knife. Where's my locker thingy? It is hiding very well. Where are you at? Are you on the table? That's so much stuff out, guys. It's a mess. I don't see it. I was on the floor. Of course it's on the floor. Why would it be anywhere else? All right, here. So we don't chop our fingers off. Let's not chop our fingers off on. I gotta see what side I was cutting. Can I tell? Where's it at? That's it. Trying to see where I started that cut. No, I can't tell. I think it was that side. You can't see it once it closes. All right, we'll just start it again. It's fine. So, open up your little vise. Okay, now, hopefully you won't chop yourself. Yeah, see how it slides? It'd be fine if it didn't slide, but mine likes to slide. It doesn't want to stay locked. It just pulls my blade out. I'm too tight. Hold on. It pulls my blade out, and then I can't cut. It works, but you know, you gotta fight with what you have. I think a knife might be better instead of a X-Acto utility blade. Anyway, stop. Oh, that's an interesting one. They're not all shaped equal, guys. You'll find it out once you cut into them. What you got, because they're not all the same. Might only get one out of this guy. Chop it a little further in this time. See? All right, here, I'm going to use my knife. I have a knife. Okay. Try this. Is it sharp enough? It is not sharp enough. That is a dull knife. You get the idea. But my blade, I might have to find a better one of these. It does this the whole time you're using it. It just goes in and out and in and out. It's like, oh my gosh, just stay where you're supposed to stay. I think I almost got it. I'm trying to cut it without damaging it. Yeah, a little piece. Anyway, I use these a lot of times in my journal when I'm doing moss effects, because you can cut little thin slivers like that and then you can use it. But, so once you get that, then you just kind of pick a side that looks good. You can peel some off. However much you want. So we don't want it everywhere. And then pick a bottom. You can kind of decide what looks best. I think that looks best, so we'll keep that side. Stop it. And I just kind of played with it until I got it to look the way I wanted it to look. Now, I didn't want moss everywhere. I don't want moss on the bottom because I want it to lay flat. And then once you get it to look that way, good. Then you can age this up with a little bit of acetone if you want. I don't like the back. I just played with it. You get the idea, right? I have the acetone in front of me. It's nail polish remover, okay? In case you don't know. Take a drop of nail polish remover. It'll eat through the whole thing. You gotta be careful because it dissolves it. But you can get that inside gritty effect. I mean, you already get a little bit, but it really will eat into it, and you'll get more of this kind of texture. More of this kind of texture. Because right now it's kind of flat. But you put a little teeny drop of acetone on there, and it'll eat it right up. And then you can make it look tombstone. And then once you paint it black, it looks even better. But you get the idea. But like I said, not all the moss stones are created equal. Some are different when you cut into them. Some look better than others. I got a whole bag of them at Dollar Tree for $1, you know. You can save your parts, throw them away. I'm going to save these fatter ones because I'll use those. But I won't use all that. Well, you can use this for fake grass. So if you have a container that you want to brush it into, don't use your fingers because you'll make a mess. I do have a container. Oh, I have a container of dirt. I don't think I have a container of this. Let me find one. Too many containers around here. Let's see, what can I throw that in? Alright, I'll throw it in this. This is just some tea bag. So it'll look like a mixture of grass and dirt. I'll pick out the floral foam later. But I'll save that because it's good for ground cover. You can also just buy a thing of fake ground cover at your hobby store. It's not that expensive. $4 for a bag maybe. But, you know, if you're really frugal, you can just use some of this. A little bit of tea bag, a little bit of coffee grounds, and you got great ground cover. Okay, so that's how I made that. I thought it was cute. I was just playing around and I saw it and I was like, yeah, that's a good little tombstone. Okay, we're getting too distracted. Grunge this guy up. Where's my paint? Trying to find one that I can use. I don't have to get a new plate. I think I can use this one. Got foam squares all over it, but I was picking apart some stickers with foam and I didn't want the foam squares. Alright, so let's grunge her up with some, a little bit of black. Try not to make a mess. I'll have black paint everywhere. And a little bit of this. And what else do we got? This one. And some collage medium. Or matte medium or whatever. Or even paint. You could also just use paint. We're just going to use a little bit of that. And that brush I was using. So, collage medium. Just get it so it'll stick. I'm going to do the back probably because you'll be able to see it from both sides. So on the back I'll have to actually attempt to, paint it to look right. Not a problem for me, but if you're not a painter, it might be overwhelming. But we're just going to get that started with some base. You can use paint too. You don't have to use this ink. I like the translucent ability of it, so I do like to use it for that reason. And just play around. Yeah, we're just grunging it. I'm gonna write on this later somehow. I still haven't figured out how I'm gonna do that, but I am. Let's give that a little dry. Let's see if I can hold it. I can't do it on camera. I got too much stuff there. It's gonna blow away, so. Orangish color maybe. Go like a board. Give it a dry again. Do a little more on this side, maybe some orange color. I like the orange. I might have so much ink on my fingers, guys. I get too much. We're just gonna wipe it off. All right, let me dry that. We're starting to look grungy. Okay. So just a few simple pieces like that. Let me get this light up here. And you can make the back and the front look similar. And I can add even more later, but for right now, that's a good start. So we'll set this somewhere. Maybe there. Okay, try to get my fingers clean. So much paint on me. Wash that out. All right, so this little lantern, I just added some grit paste to them and some black paint. Added that wire. There's a little collage medium on the glass, so it looks dirty. And I just want to rust them up. So, just add this. The burnt sienna is a nice rust color. If it's not showing because your item is so dark, you could add a lighter area first. So let's add a little dry brush thing. Let's add a little bit of a light color first. I'm going to dry that off if I can find a paper towel. So I need it to show up better for the rest. I got a little too dark. Not that it's a big deal, but I don't want it quite that dark. Okay. Maybe just some acrylic paint. No, just acrylic paint. I'm torn. We'll do acrylic paint. This is just vintage. Just a drop. I'm just going to try and dry brush. A little bit of this. Kind of where I think I might want some rust. Maybe. It's just going to help it show up a little bit better, I think. I'll wash it. If I don't wash it, it'll dry on there forever. Right. And then, is that dry yet? It's going to dry so fast. Yeah, it's dry. Then I can add my rust. And now my rust will show up. Whereas before it was just kind of disappearing. And when it dries, it's not quite what I want, I can add a little more. Put a little bit on that glass. But just a very simple, no, ain't good enough. Just a very simple addition of a little bit of a rust effect. Makes this go from that pretty lantern that it was to this nice scrungy lantern that looks like it's been around for ages. Okay. I think I lost everybody. They're not here. Oops, it's hard to show. So that's what we have. It's pretty grungy. Alright, so that's that. So this is a lid to one of these, a piece of yarn that's been glued around it. This is a washer. It's called a finishing washer. I'll show you one in a second. And then one of my balls from Tim Holtz, the crystal balls. What are they called? Baubles? Bubbles? Bubbles? Baubles, I think. Wash my brushes out real quick. Okay, so I've got bubbles. Okay, I got one of these guys. I have finishing washers floating around here somewhere. Which container did I put it in? This one? No. Not that one. Too many containers, guys. Not that one. This one? No. Oh my gosh. So many containers. Do y'all know what a finishing washer is? I mean, I'm sure you could look it up, but I'm trying to remember where I stuck it. You would think I would be able to find things, but I cannot. I can't find anything. Is this it? Nope, that's not it either. No, I thought I stuck them in here, but I don't see them. A finishing washer is like a raised washer. It's got a little bump on it. I'm missing a container. Is it this container? No, it's not that container. I don't think it's this container. It's hard for me to show you things if I can't find them. That makes it difficult. I had them before I started. not in the bottles. I doubt it's in the brooms. But you never know. No, not in the brooms. Don't know where they are. I purposely had like 4 set aside to show you. And I don't know where they are. Okay. Anyway, it's a flat washer that's got a bump. That's all I can tell you. It's a flat washer with a bump. And the crystal ball just sits down in it perfectly. Okay? Because it's raised, it's got a little hole. Okay, there's a little hole in there. And so I hot glued everything on here. I added a little bit of collage medium too, just to kind of make sure it's sealed good. So that's what I did with that. I was going to show you this washer, but I can't find it. So I don't know where it is. No clue. Nope. I have too many containers, guys. It's getting a little out of hand. Too many projects going on. All right. So we're going to paint this. So I think I'm going to make this look like metal. I think that will, it could be metal or it could be wood. It could go either way. I think we'll go metal. So I'm going to start with just some black paint. I'm just going to use this folk art. Ooh, that was a lot more than I wanted. So I'm just going to paint this little thimble black to start with. I'm not going to get that washer if I can help it, because I'm going to make it look silver anyway, and I don't want to have to redo it. It seems to be holding okay. I wasn't real sure how well it was going to hold. We'll see if it stays. But a little bit of this acrylic paint on here so our thimble is not, our little lid, plastic lid isn't showing. Bottom's going to be glued, so it doesn't really matter. So something like that. Wash that out. And then you can glue a dowel using hot glue to the bottom to hold it. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it's easier just to hold it. I'm going to try to dry that paint so we can continue. Let me get my tweezers if I can find them. I have my little squeezy tweezers here somewhere. Where are you guys hiding? Okay, we're just going to hold it with this. Move my plate because it's going to fly everywhere. I'm just going to dry this. I'm trying to do it so you can see. Doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. And then we'll add that dry brushing effect to it with some white. So a teeny bit on your end, and then wipe it off just like when you're stenciling, kinda. And we're just going to add just a little of this here and there, not too much. Just kind of stipple it. I'm going to try not to get it on the glass. I think I touched it. I can't tell. Did I? I can always clean that off with alcohol later. Right. A little bit of dry brushing. And then some silver, I think. What do I got for silver? There's some silver. We have some platinum. A little bit of silver. And I'm going to put a little bit of this ink in it. Just a bit. I don't want it quite that dark. What's the black ink? Is this black? Maybe. A little black ink. I'm just going to brush that on there. I think it'll look okay this color. If it looks horrible, I'll just make it look like wood instead. Move it so I can get to that spot. Okay. It's not too bad. Trying to cover up all the black. And I could paint stars on it or something, you know, interesting if I want later. Just a little Posca pen or something, or a marker. I don't think I need this to look rusty. It already looks pretty grungy, so. But if at the end my crystal ball isn't crystally enough, I can take just a little alcohol swab. This will take off any of that paint I've put on there. And just clean her up. Give her a little rub. And it should be all pretty and shiny. Okay, so that's grungy enough. I'm okay with that. We've got our little lantern. He's looking pretty good. These guys need grunge. And we need to pick out wallpaper. Oh my gosh, where did the time go? Still haven't got my wallpaper picked out. What color do I want these guys? I don't know if I like this green color. It's not terrible. Let's go with some of this brown. Get some of this in there. I might dry brush on some white, but I think I want it more brown. Just a slight more brown tint to it than this green. Not much of that left. It's all dried out. I might add some grit paste to this too. Some crypt paste and then color that. The ones he had last year weren't this color. They were a different color. I don't remember what color they were, but they were definitely a different color. All right, so it's still very wet. Let me grab a different one. I'll try this one. So I'm going to take gray, I think. I think I want gray, not silver. Definitely not silver, but gray. So just a little bit of the black, a little bit of normal white. Even gesso. We'll just use gesso because it's nice and matte. If I can find my gesso. There it is. A little bit of gesso. Just put a teeny bit on there. I need a cardboard. We're just gonna real lightly dry brush that. Get it more of a gray and brown kind of look. trick is making sure it's not so wet that it goes into the cracks. We just want it on the top. Okay. We'll shade it a little bit with some black ink. Do you see any black ink there? Is that black? Nope, that's totally brown. Oh well, we'll put that here. This is gonna look like dirt. I'll just put a little bit at the base. Look like mud or something. And then let's put some black. Wow, let's soak that right up. Okay, let's see. Try to get it to look just a bit more aged. Color's running down. Yeah, I think I like that color. Better than the green anyway. I might add more white in a minute. If I take it too far, then I'll... Alright, we're getting there. It's starting to look grungier. Sometimes you just gotta get your fingers dirty, guys. I don't know, it's just easier. That looking kind of creepier. I think I like that color better. And we'll be putting words on there that say something. Don't know what. What else needs done? We need to screw the screws in. Let's try to take a step back and do that. I'm going to add grit paste, I think, to these, and we'll let that dry until the next time. I really don't like that we're so far apart. Where is my crypt paste? There it is. All right, a little bit of crypt paste. Oh, it can be drying. Going to add some thicker grunge that we can really grunge up later once it dries. It's not everywhere, just on some of the edges. Remember, these are going to be seen from both directions, so got to make sure that we don't neglect a side. If you're worried about your labels, leave a spot that's blank for your label, but I'm not real worried about it. I think it'll be all right. I'm mostly staying on the edge. You can also do it after the label. I'll do it more probably after, but I'll get some on there so it can start drying. I like to do things in layers. It just looks better. So there's those. They're starting to get grungy. They have to dry. Set them up there. Wash your fingers off. And let's try and screw that cabinet together. We'll get to the wallpaper next time. I'll try to pick out some wallpaper. It'd probably take me an hour to sit here and pick out wallpaper. So I'll never figure it out. And then I'll just apply some collage medium onto these guys. I'm just going to sponge it on there just to tone them down a little bit. I think most of you have seen me do that. I just use a makeup wedge, a little collage medium or matte medium. and just sponge it on there and let it dry. That's what I'll do before you come back next time. Let's see if I can get enough stuff out of my way. All right, to this guy. All right, so we want to drill these holes. See how that's staying. Feels pretty good. So we got little hard heads. I'll show you in a minute, but, well, if I can find them. I think I saw them earlier. Oh, they're there. They're in there. That's where they are. Okay. We'll glue those on. Screws, are they in there too? Or did I pull them out? I bet they're still in there. I don't know. I might have pulled them out. If I did, they're gone. So these have little, these are Tim Holtz, I don't know, what do they call them? Hardware heads, I think. So I'm just going to fake put nails there because I can't put these. I mean, if I had a little clipper, I could clip them. I don't have one, at least not near me. So I'm just going to put these little fake ones on there. I prefer to have the ones with the X, the Phillips. I know what they're called. Tweezers. Let's see if I have 4 of them. That's the question. Do I have 4 or not? There's one. There's one. There's one. There's one. All right, there's 4. And then we need 4 of these screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I'll zoom in just a second. All right. Let's see if we can do this and you still be able to see. Maybe. Okay. So I have a hand drill that I use for stuff like this. A little hand drill set. I got it off of Amazon. It's the type that you hold against your palm. This spins so that when it's in your palm, you can hold it and turn it to screw it in. Okay? It's better than trying to do this with a large drill. So we're just going to start a little hole. Try to get in the middle. It's soft wood, so not super difficult. Just put a little hole in there. If it goes all the way through, it really doesn't matter. I'll clean it up on the other side. I mostly just want a place for my screw to start. And you're less likely to split your wood if you drill it first. Okay. I think they're in there. So I have a little set of screwdrivers. These are Stanley's. I'm sure I got them at Home Depot or something. I've had them for many, many, many years. I've also seen a set similar at Hobby Lobby. I like them because they have the spinny thing. It's much easier to screw with things that have that spinny thing on the back than it is to sit there and turn it like this. So try to get that if you can. Okay, put our screw. Try and find our hole we started. Hopefully I got it deep enough. We'll find out in a minute. see if it shows. Not yet. All right, we might be all right. It doesn't have to go all the way in. Yeah, it'll just look grungy. Let's see if I can do this. I need it to be magnetic. It's not magnetic. Oh my gosh, that one's not. It wasn't going in there. I was like, what? Something wrong with that head on there. They're so tiny. They're very tiny. Tiny, tiny little bits. If you're not good with working with little bitty things, this might not be the project for you. I happen to love working with little tiny miniatures. I could sit and do it all day long. All right, where's the hole? Okay, let's grab another one. All right. Hold open. Not fall apart. It's a little loose. I might tighten it. But overall, pretty good. Tighten them down just a little bit more. Hopefully they're not popping through the inside. If they are, like I said, I could throw a little bit of grit paste on there or something. Popping through a tiniest bit, but not too bad. So there's that. You like it? Okay. And we got these little hardware heads. I'm going to glue these hardware heads. I'll try to do one. I'll try. I'm going to probably use my gem tack. I don't know. We're going to throw this collage medium and see if it really does work. I've never tried it for these. They're very hard to hold on to. I don't have one of those little gluey dobby things. Oh, he totally spun around. All right, fine. We'll just use our finger. So Tim says that it's a good idea if it squeezes out the edges because it shrinks. So I assume that that's true. I don't know if I got enough on there. I'll put a little bit more. Use whatever glue you feel comfortable using. We're going to go a little crazy here. Just throw that on there. He says this glue will shrink up and be clear and you won't see it. I don't know. You can pick this up. Look at there. Anyway, they're going to look like screw heads. They're not real screw heads, but that is the idea. So just set them on there, let them dry. Okay. See? Little fakey screw heads so that we don't have to put screw heads on that side. Because we obviously cannot screw a nail through that side. It's too narrow. So now, this collage medium, tap it down and just put a little wire in there. Just clean it out a little bit and then put your lid on. That way it doesn't plug up on you. Okay. What time is it? Oh, 5 minutes. Oops. I'm not going to get anything done. I mean, I got this done. All right, so I'm going to leave those on there, let them dry. Then we will come back and put the acetate on the inside of the windows and play with that. Put my little hand drill up. Put my little hinges up. This goes in my screw set. And what was I just thinking? Something. was thinking something I could do quickly. Gosh, my brain. Wasn't that. Oh, it was the acetate. Okay, so we've got these little cracked acetate thingies that look like cracked glass. We're going to put those behind that window. They will look like that. Okay. See? Okay. But they're way too clean. This isn't a clean house. This is a grungy house. So we got to grunge them up. So I'm going to take this, put it on something that can handle alcohol ink, and grab our alcohol ink. Now we're just going to grunge this a little. We're not going to go crazy, but just going to grunge a little. You could put some collage medium on there too, but if you do, let it dry thoroughly before trying to put alcohol ink on, because they'll mix together and it's not pretty. It's a mess. So this is just a gator board. This is plastic. It's like a foam board, but it's plastic instead of cardboard on each side. So I can wipe that off with alcohol. But I'm just going to grunge this glass up with a few colors. Some green, some of that. That first one was honeycomb. This is sepia. Okay, wear a glove. Alcohol ink is not coming off your hand. At least not for a day or two. Trust me, it's not coming off. I would wear a glove. And ventilate if you're using alcohol inks, and don't light a fire near them. They're alcohol, guys. Oh, I need my alcohol bottle. All right, 1 second. Tim has an alcohol thinner, alcohol ink thinner or something like that. I forget what it's called. I just use 91% alcohol. We're just gonna make this old. We want it to look like it's been around for a really long time. It's been aged. It looks awful. See if I can get stuff out of my way. Okay. You can play with it until you get it to the extent that you want it. It can be a little, it can be a lot. A little less than that. So I usually just play with it until I kind of get it where I want it. But I'm not kidding. Don't be lighting a fire or using your heat tool when you're playing with your alcohol inks, because they do put vapor in the air. All right, but that's good enough. That's nice and grungy. Okay, it doesn't take a lot. You can clean your hands with Purell or alcohol if you want to clean your gloves off. I will just toss these. It's not worth the effort, honestly. This is a brush that is only for alcohol ink use. I keep it in there. And I keep 2 gloves in there so that I'm ready to go at any point. And then, like, if I want to clean this off of my table, you can just use one of your little alcohol swabbies. A couple of those and you're good to go. If it's not good enough, I'll do it better later. But for right now, this is sufficient. Okay? And then, when I go to put this in my window, let's see what you can see it on. A much grungier looking window. Okay? I think that's the front, just the front. One of these has paint. This is the painted side. The painted side shows the cracks a little bit better. So it depends if you want the cracks to be super visible. I think that's the right side. Honestly, I can't tell. I really can't tell. It doesn't matter. Honestly, it doesn't matter. But one does have more paint on it when you start with. But anyway, you get the idea. Isn't that cool? So now it's nice and grungy. Looks old. It's not so pretty. I'm not focused. There. Okay. So that will be going in our window. On our little apothecary cabinet. These are going in the trash. I buy my gloves at Home Depot and the usually we're in the tool section. Not in the cleaning supply section. They're more expensive over there. I don't know why. In the tool section, I get the non-latex ones, and they're cheaper. You get like 100 for practically nothing. I don't know. So, but that aside, we'll glue that on with some dull stick tape later. Not this one, but we'll glue it onto here. So it's going to look really cool in there. Okay. I can't really show you because I can't show it till I cut it out. But you get the idea. Okie dokie. So those are starting to dry. Another hour they'll be dry, if that. Maybe 20 minutes. Okay, that's it for our live, guys. We're 11 o'clock. I gotta go. Here, let me set that there. I don't want my screen to be blank, so let me set some stuff there. Zoom back out. Zoom out. There we go. Okay. So hopefully y'all like that. We'll continue working on this guy next Monday. I'll get it done sooner or later. It's a slow process sometimes. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your evening. I will be back on Wednesday. Wednesday we are doing our junk journal. Okay, our Halloween junk journal. So I will see you guys Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Y'all take care, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye-bye.